Hey, what's up? Welcome to another edition of the post-fight live show here at the Mandatory. If you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also follow us on our social media channels. We're at the Mandatory TKO because Jared Big Baby Anderson suffered his first loss against Martin Bakole. And this was a fight. Did he get dropped 3 times
Yes.
in the fight? Yes, 3 times. The first time he got dropped was in the first round. And Bryan, I don't think he ever really recovered or had the confidence after that first knockdown. Your thoughts on what we saw? And I know the fans in UK that were riding hard for Bakole. He looked good in this fight. It worked with what he had. Slow footed, didn't matter because I don't know what game plan Jared Anderson went in there with. Your thoughts on him suffering his first L?
Man, I don't know if he ever recovered. I thought that he got concussed like 27 times in that fight. Legitimately, like his head, it was legitimately worrisome. The way his head looked like it was popping off of his shoulders, like he was getting rocked. This is like all over the place, just uppercuts and all this shit. Bakole, luckily for him, was throwing mostly arm punches because if he sat on more of them shits, then it probably would have been over sooner. This is the concern with Jared Anderson that we have been talking about on this show, and covering his last few fights, where you see why they're billing him as the next great American heavyweight. But I felt like it was a lot. It was too much too soon. And while you can see like the star potential, the marketability, the power, the raw power that he has, and he did catch Bakole a few times, quite a few times in that fight, but it didn't feel like the power really translated uh, in a way that you would expect because he was probably still recovering and dazed. And then the defensive deficiencies, which we've seen in his Jared Anderson being his other fights, where he pulls back but not far enough and he gets rocked and it looks worse because his head just goes all over the place because he pulls back and he gets hit because his chin's in the air and then it looks just bad. When he's taking looping shots on the inside, sometimes he gets rocked because he has his hands very low and his reflexes don't appear to be good enough for him to do that. You know what I mean? Like you see this in amateur boxing and in the Olympics right now. You see a lot of fighters like with hands low and they're just staring like right in front of each other, but they have quicker reflexes. They're smaller, whatever the case may be. But Jared Anderson, like, I don't think he really has the reflexes to be doing that. So there was some holes there that other top flight heavyweights could pick apart. And then on top of that, this is the heavyweight division. It's very hard to go undefeated in the heavyweight division. Nobody goes undefeated for that long in the heavyweight division unless their record is super protected, or you just have that kind of power. So yeah, I'm curious to see what happens from here. There was a video clip that surfaced of Bob Arum telling him like, "Hey, we're gonna bring you back. You're gonna be better than ever." Hell of a risk from Jared Anderson and Top Rank to put him on this card against a tough opponent like Martin Bakole, who's also ranked very highly by a few sanctioning bodies. So props to him for doing that. And hopefully he is actually back and better than ever, because this could be something that like changes you. And I want you to say what you're going to say about this because I've been talking too much. But after you're done, I want to read a tweet from Lou DiBella that I thought was very interesting in relation to this fight.
Yeah, you sent me that tweet right away. I just want to say for what we saw against Jared Anderson, number one, I thought he fought a dumb fight. Like, you have the speed, you can use your footwork. Martin Bakole is slow footed. Stick and move. You got the power. Like, what are you doing? Right? Martin Bakole wasn't doing anything crazy. He was slow as hell, landing like big shots on you, and your head's just going back like you're in a video game. I can see the sweat just coming off your face. And I'm looking at this fight like, man, you keep on taking these big shots, you're going to get knocked out. And that's exactly what happened. And I think it comes with discipline. Did he come into this fight maybe not taking Martin Bakole too serious? Because, like, what was that game plan about? You made no adjustments. Mm-hmm. So I hated the way Jared Anderson fought. And then you go back to his 2 previous fights, there's questions about his defense. His defense is terrible. And this is why I did never like the label of the next American great heavyweight. I hated it. And I said every time, it's Richard Torres Jr. It's Richard Torres Jr. It is not Jared Anderson. It's not hate to Jared Anderson, but we also know that there's questions about how committed he is to the sport. He says he doesn't want to do it for a long time. He also has a bunch of stuff outside the ring that's just a mess. It's messy. I loved his post-fight interview though. Right? Like it's hard not to like him though. Like I do like Big Baby and I was rooting for him. But I do want to say shout out to Martin Bakole. I believe it was an upset, Bryan. Because even though a lot of people would say it was a 50-50 fight and a lot of fans were going hard for him, he's ranked really high by some sanctioning bodies. But when you've never fought in America, and this is Jared Anderson's home soil, and he's labeled the next great American heavyweight, he doesn't have any losses. He's the favorite for betting. It's an upset, dude. A total upset. I want to know, and I would love to see this. How many people really knew of Martin Bakole? Like just regular casual fans. I guarantee you it wasn't a lot. And Jared Anderson, when you're put on that high of a pedestal and you lose like that, like I know it's the heavyweight division and anything can happen with one punch. And unfortunately for Jared Anderson, it was a few punches because he like Bakole was using his face as a punching bag, legit in this fight. It's an upset. It's an upset because now we don't know what way his career is going to go because outside of the ring, he's messy as hell. That's what I got to say about what we saw tonight. It was disappointing, but I love the post-fight interview. And Jared, I am rooting for you. He's also hilarious. That's all I want to say about it.
Yeah, there's talk about Bakole potentially getting his lick back with Michael Hunter, who stopped him before, which is one of the reasons I was like, maybe Jared Anderson stops him. Ultimately, I didn't bet on this fight. I decided not to. Thank God, right? A lot of people I did see were betting on Bakole, and Jared Anderson wasn't as big of a favorite. He was a betting favorite, so this counts as an upset. But he was like minus 190 for the majority of the week. I saw minus 200 in some books as well. So for boxing, that's nothing. Boxing usually see like what you saw for Isaac Cruz, where he's 5-1, or Terrence Crawford, where he's 9-1. I do think that Jared Anderson, though, I mean, I get why he was the favorite for obvious reasons, right? But this is the type of dude that was probably gonna beat him if he was gonna lose. And Martin Bakole, like to your point, like I didn't feel like what he did was like anything spectacular. It wasn't Tyson Fury like at his peak in terms of movement and things of that nature. Like
he was so slow in the ring. Like I'm watching this fight and I'm like, what is Jared Anderson doing? Like if I'm in his corner, I'm like going off on him because it's like you're younger, you're quicker, you have the speed, you have the power. Why do you want to stand there like a punching bag?
Right. I texted you in all caps. I texted you in all caps. I said, why isn't this motherfucker boxing? Like, why isn't he moving? Like, move. Why are you standing in front of him? You're younger, you're faster, you're not using your reach. Bakole, like, he told you what he was going to do as soon as the fight started because he literally stood there and he's like trying to bait Jared Anderson into coming forward so that he could tag him with a left hook or right uppercut. He was setting it up the entire first round. And Jared Anderson actually looked all right that first round until he got dropped. And when he got dropped, it was like, yeah, it was a right uppercut because Bakole was setting. He telegraphed what he was going to do. And Jared Anderson, for whatever reason, just kind of fell into that trap. So the Lou DiBella tweet, which this was directed at Jared Anderson, and this is kind of what you were saying earlier, where he says, if you don't like boxing and you have doubts about it, Jared Anderson has said that, lent voice to this, and you conduct yourself like a juvenile outside the ring in your outside the ring life, you aren't going to be a champion and you will fail. Case in point, nothing short of a career-changing ass whooping. Now he later said, like, you know, along the lines of he can come back, he's young, whatever the case may be. But like that's really what it is. It's like Jared Anderson's talked about not really loving boxing and wanting to get out by 27. And, you know, he's had some legal troubles or whatever the case may be. And it's like, hey, man, like this is the hardest sport in the world, maybe. Like you have to change up what you're doing clearly. And, you know, he says he's going to come back better, stronger and all that shit. We'll see. We don't know dude like that. And this was a fucking just this is a performance that'll sideline your career if you're not careful. So
he needs to have an extremely good performance in his next fight and defensively get better in every aspect. Let's get to some comments though, because a lot of people are there's a lot of comments. We're gonna get to them. Tyrone the Great, because he donated, He's first. Big Bang versus Bakole. I love that fight.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Like, I want it. Give it to me now.
Yes.
IMPK 13. Anderson does not have the passion or the discipline to be a top heavyweight. Just from what we've seen and what we know, I don't think IMPK 13 is wrong here.
Yeah, and I don't like judging these dudes because again, it's fucking hard to do this. Like,
Yeah.
I try to have respect for every single fighter, man, woman, or whatever. But like, listen, man, like,
Video game character.
yeah, man, woman, or video game character. But yeah, like it's this is fucking hard, and like you do need a psychotic amount of discipline to be a top level heavyweight. Like, people shit on Deontay Wilder all they want, but that dude was committed. That dude was working, and people would say like, "Oh, he didn't really get better." And it's like, I mean, listen, like he was in the gym all the time, working on his craft. He was committed, absolutely committed, to the sport and all those things. And he ended up becoming a champion for a long time. Was his record sort of protected or whatever the case may be? I mean, he had fights like this coming up and he didn't lose them.
I'll say one thing though, and this is just to give them credit. Like, if I was that young and I had that much fame and that much money, I'd be insane, especially in my 20s. I would have, like, if I had that much fame and money when I was in my 20s, Bryan, I would be absolutely insane and I'd probably be in rehab right now. I am PK 13. It's the truth. I wouldn't be able to be disciplined. So I do get that part.
You guys, like, this is not a joke. You guys don't know. You guys don't know her like that. But like,
I'm telling you, I would.
I don't know what I'd do. I would tell you what, I wouldn't be like Tyreek Hill. I wouldn't be doing that.
No, you would. You would be like so. You would be so conservative with it, yo. You'd like be like having investments and saving your. You're too smart for this. You're too smart. Okay, Bryan, you're too disciplined. I'd be out of control. I am PK 13. Bakole looked like a punch out character. Yeah, like,
honestly, man. Bakole is crazy. He just overwhelmed him with his power, and Jared Anderson just kind of let him. It's like he got dazed once and he couldn't figure it out. Like that entire second, third round period, he was just not stumbling around. Maybe that's a little too strong, but he was like visibly, what the fuck do I do? You know what I mean?
It was kind of crazy because Bakole was so slow, but I felt like Jared Anderson thought he was faster than him in his high speed car chase. Okay. Ace _ 317. Jared's defense needs a massive improvement. When he lets his hands go, so does the defense. Yeah, like
he doesn't really roll. You know what I mean? Like, it's just I don't know, man. I feel like there's I don't have this concern about like commitment and all these different things in life. So I don't have those concerns with Richard Torres Jr.
No, he's the one, dude. Like, I'm telling you right now, and he is trained by his dad. He's so focused, and I love the way he moves around the ring. A little bit of a smaller heavyweight, but he's got all the tools, and I like that he's a little bit smaller. I think Richard Torres Jr. is going to be like the face of like American boxing or even the sport at one point. Like, he's that good, has the superstar potential. We're going to see his face everywhere if he continues to fight. Did we already go to, is it Rafael 32?
Could be Rafael with an I.
Okay, yeah, Rafael. That probably makes more sense. Jared should have gotten in and gone out. He chose to stay inside. Yeah, why wasn't he sticking and moving?
1000%. Thank you for the comment. Exactly. Yeah. Like, that's what it was. It's like it just didn't make sense. Some dudes believe in their power too much, and it's like, yo, you're a heavyweight. The other dude could punch too. Like,
and you know what? I think for Jared Anderson, he's so talented and he has all the attributes. So it's like, does he fight down sometimes because he thinks his talent is going to bail him out? Because I think it could also be that aspect, like the confidence level of Jared Anderson, right? Like, he has all the attributes. He shouldn't have lost this fight, dude. Just terrible game plan. Let's go to our guy, Alan Piper. Haven't seen you in a minute on the post-fight show. Thank you for joining us. Anderson was a little overhyped. Overhyped as well, Bryan?
Yeah. I think we're good on Jared Anderson. We'll see where he goes from here. And if he comes back before the end of the year, maybe next year, whatever the case would be, maybe next year, probably need some time. We'll see how Top Rank tries to rebrand him.